Some might say Andre Rison was outspoken, and others might say he was an off-the-field distraction. But one thing we all should be able to agree on is that he was one of the best wide receivers in the 90s. Rison has the most receptions, and not only a player's first 4 years, but also in the player's first 5. But he still doesn't get the respect he deserves when we mention some of the best wide receivers to play this game. Andre Rison was selected with the 22nd pick in the 1989 NFL Draft, after 4 years at Michigan State, where he became the all-time leader in receiving yards and receptions. He would have a mildly good rookie year with the Colts, by having 52 receptions for 820 yards and scoring 4 touchdowns, finishing second in the Defensive Rookie of the Year race to eventual winner Barry Sanders. Now, just when Rison was getting settled into the team and getting ready to begin his second year in the league, he was abruptly traded to the Falcons in a package that included tackle Chris Hinton and the Colts' first-round draft pick, who ended up being quarterback Jeff George, who oddly Rison would end up playing with later in his career during his stint in Atlanta. After the trade, Rison would confidently say that he believed that the Falcons won and that he would finally be able to showcase his talent. Going into the 1990 season, Rison backed up everything he said and more. By the end of the season, he would have 82 receptions for over 1,200 yards and 10 touchdowns. Rison will also rack up accolades by being selected to his first of 5 Pro Bowls and being named to an All-Pro team. In the next 2 NFL seasons, being 91 and 92, Rison will have over 80 receptions and will have double-digit touchdowns in both seasons. He will make it to the Pro Bowl in both those seasons also. Andre Rison will continue to rack up accolades as he will make history by setting the record for the most receptions in a player's first 4 years with 308. His 5th year being the 1993 season, he would not only lead the league in touchdowns with 15, setting a Falcons franchise record, but he would make history again as he would have the most receptions in the player's first 5 seasons with 394. 5 years into his career, Rison without a doubt was a top 5 receiver. He constantly was top 10 in touchdowns and yards at this point in his career and was a problem for any opposing defense he went against. In Rison's last year with the Falcons, being 1994, he would have another great season. After this season ended, Rison would be looking to become the highest paid receiver in NFL history, which he deserved, I might add, and in search of a bigger contract, he will end up with the Cleveland Browns, who would make him the highest paid receiver with a contract of 5 years for $17 million. The Browns saw Rison as the one piece they needed to win a Super Bowl, as the year before they went 11-5 and made it to the divisional round. With Rison coming off some of his best seasons, it seemed like a match made in heaven. Sadly, this union wouldn't last, as one of the most infamous moments in sports history occurred when Art Modell, on November 6, 1995, during the season, decided he wanted to move the team from Cleveland to Baltimore. This decision not only shocked but angered fans, but it also killed team morale. The Browns will finish 5-11 and didn't even sniff the playoffs. Rison will post career lows in every category and will draw the ire of fans with negative comments about how he felt that he was treated after the atrocity that was the Browns' 1995 NFL season. After the season, Rison and the organization will part ways. Rison was signed with the Jaguars for the 96 NFL season, but just after 10 games, he would get released due to performance issues, according to the Jaguars coach at the time, Tom Coughlin. 2 teams had released Rison in almost 2 seasons, even though Rison had star talent. But just when things began to appear gloomy, Rison would get claimed by the Green Bay Packers off waivers. This turned out to be the best thing for Rison, as with the Packers, he achieved every NFL player's dream while winning the Super Bowl, and also played an intricate part in winning as he caught the first touchdown of the game, which would be a 50-yard bomb from Brett Favre. The next season, being 97, Rison was signed with the Chiefs and had his last true productive year, where he would have 72 receptions for over 1,000 yards. It would be the most yards Rison had since 1994. Rison would spend 2 more years with the Chiefs as his career would wane, and then spend his last year in the NFL in 2000 with the Raiders, where he didn't start any game. When Andre Rison retired, he was top 10 in receiving touchdowns and top 20 in receptions and receiving yards all time. I do not doubt that Rison should not only be mentioned when we talk about some of the best wide receivers to play this game, but that he also should be in Canton. Rison sadly has fallen victim to the false case where perception is reality due to some of his off-the-field issues. It has overshadowed how spectacular he was as a player, but when you look at his numbers and his film, how can you say with a good conscience that this man wasn't one of the best of his era?